And just the activity room has been specially designed too, so that not only will we have reading and literacy programming in there, but we'll have a full range of other cultural programming. We're going to work very closely with the gallery and, for example, have illustration workshops and painting workshops for kids. We've got a wet floor. And beyond the activity room, I'm not sure if we want to work up there, we've got the teenage area, the young people's area. There'll be a lot of seating for them, casual seating, study space, collections, heaps of information technology and gaming as well. So 5 large screens going along the circular wall, which you can see there.
If we could just make this point, is that
the most important years of a child's life in terms of their future development is 0 through to 8, and of course the last half of that is spent at school. But the Library Corp really sees it as very important to prepare those children and their parents for a school environment in terms of the children's ability to read or to start to read, the child's love of books, whether they be electronic or the real thing, and the Library Corp values that role very much, and that's one we try and meet each day through programs.
So when we spoke earlier, we talked about the GRC panelling system. So what we're referring to are these 18 typical hexagonal panels. Each of those has its own framework. That frame is then bonded into the back of the panel. You can see the lumps on the back of the panels where the rods have been bent in. That actually holds the panel onto the steel superstructure. That panel is then bolted to the exoskeleton, which are the tubes. And then in between each of the panels we have a 3-layer system. So you can see where the joints open. So we cast the panels with a rebate into the edge, and that allows us to put in a black anodised aluminium strip that goes in between each of the panels. That's held in with double-sided tape, so that gives you the actual primary seal to the outside. Behind that we then have the first layer of spray-applied membrane, which is the grey compound there, which is a polyseal HP 700. Then there's a gap that's formed by a stick-on adhesive tape to create a pressure cell, which is a pressure equalising chamber between the inside and the outside of the building. And then on the back of that we spray the green HP 1200, which is the secondary or the second layer of waterproofing for this building. That not only do we have a pressure cell, we also have a drainage chamber, so that if in the unlikely event that ever happened, which we when we did our testing on it, in order to get any water in, we had to drill holes in it. We had to basically rip it apart and force water in there, and it only made it to the back of the grade. So we've got 2 layers of defence beyond that on this building. If there was any reason why that would happen, actually the drainage chamber runs all the way down, and at the end of the building it drains out to the ground or the gutters above us. So that's essentially the waterproofing system in a minute. On this floor we have a displacement air system which uses large volume air and low velocity, and what that does is it allows us to condition the space in a more passive way, so it's less energy intense. And because of the high spaces, and particularly on the ground floor, the high spaces being 6 metres or more, we need to condition the bottom 2 metres to get comfort for the patrons. This displacement air system has a diffuser grill on the bottom of the column that looks like a 4-leaf clover, and the air wafts out at low level along the floor and then makes its way up, and then we return the air through pilot grills. So that sets this building apart from a lot of traditional offices, in that the displacement air system takes a lot of space, but it's certainly more efficient as a way of conditioning large areas.
Right now we're on the mezzanine level. Now, one of the interesting facts of the project is this level wasn't in here early days during the design. When we were developing the project, one of the big things that I guess occurred to us as a project group was about a lot of the libraries had great reading walls, and that was something we wanted to replicate in this building. So during the design, the mezzanine floor got added to the building. So what we wanted to create was a book wall that stretched from floor to ceiling on this side, but obviously it had to be accessed. So what will happen on this wall here, there'll be shelves going in, there'll be books there, and likewise underneath on the ground floor, there'll be books on this wall as well. So certainly when you look at this building from out in the park, you'll really get the feel of the book wall in the library, and that is the big feature that really represents libraries and very symbolic about what a library is about. It's a great opportunity here to look down on the ground floor and doing a bit of explanation about what's going on. The space that we have over here that's behind that wall is the new cafe space for the library. So the library will have a cafe. Now, Council's currently tendering that facility at the moment, or tendering for an operator for that at the moment. So that's going to happen. Replacing the old toilets that were in the park, we have a couple of toilets that you can see the back of here that will be externally accessible after hours. The main theory with one of the libraries and claiming a small portion of the park was that we got rid of the existing toilet block that was very old and probably a bit of an eyesore in the park. Given that the library is open quite extensive hours and has toilets on every floor level, there'll certainly be a lot more toilets available for the public as they circulate through the park as well, and certainly is about encouraging people into the library as well. Again, the ground floor here is very much about being the community hub and the community lounge room, and will be certainly set up that way as well. Again, Patty, did you have any comments you wanted to make about the ground floor and its use before we...
One of the other reasons for the book wall, or the Great Wall of Stories as we're calling it, was to maximise the floor area on the ground floor for people and for seating. So we're calling it the gathering place. So that'll be the place that you enter the facility, meet people for a coffee, you can pick up the items that you've reserved. We'll have displays of highlighted materials from throughout the building down here for people to do a bit of a taste, to come and try. And of course, as Scott mentioned, paying homage to the classical libraries of the past, which is one of the design inspirations for ARN. So a really very well thought out shelving design and system. What's that? Great Wall of Stories? Yeah.
And what's the oldest book in the library going to be?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think you'll actually find that in the Heritage Centre.
Right.
I'll have to take that one on notice, Mr Mayor.
John Mitchell's biography.
But that's a very good point, though, because with public libraries, we try and provide the most up-to-date and recent, high turnover popular materials. But it's great that we're going to have integrated within our service now a service that actually offers the older materials about the history of Geelong, and that will continue to collect information about Geelong's culture.
That was our exclusive tour of the new Geelong Library and Heritage Centre, and we look forward to your company next Friday night for News Geelong. I'm Meryl Friend.